So welcome back to my channel. This is Dom, and yeah, we're in an interesting stage of life. Now, I'm not going to dwell on all the ins and outs of what's going on with the coronavirus and the spread around the world at the moment and all the safety nets that are going in. I just hope you all stay safe, you'll stay well, and you manage to shelter those most susceptible from it. Now, personally, I feel I'm in self-isolation because I believe I may actually have it. Don't know for certain because the UK isn't testing for those who aren't in hospital, but I certainly have the cough, sorry, and flu-like symptoms. So to be safe, to be sorry, I have self-isolated, and so have my family. So it's kind of close to home. So I thought, well, yeah, let's have a quick look at what we can do as a wargaming community. So as expected, Salute has been, well, postponed is how they're putting it. I'm not going to get into the whole debate about whether it's postponed or cancelled. Effectively, they have announced that 2020 Salute will not happen. It's now going to happen in April 2021, so a year later. So basically it's cancelled for this year, but they're not saying cancelled. There's probably some very good reason, probably to do with tickets and insurance, probably to do with the fact they're not able to refund traders, etc., etc. Because remember, this is a club running this massive show every year, and they make a fair bit of money out of it, but it's still a very costly enterprise. And if it suddenly gets canned, I know from our my own club's limited exposure to a much smaller club, much smaller show, we try and run where we have enough money that if it failed, we wouldn't bankrupt the club. And I don't know whether Salute is in the South London Warlords are in the same boat, but anyway, whatever it is, I'm now talking about something I don't really know, so I'm going to stop speculating why they've postponed it rather than cancelled it. I saw a number of US shows have gone the same way, and it's inevitable, frankly, absolutely inevitable that these clubs are going to be closing. Everything's shutting down. We are in a period of unprecedented shutdown to this health emergency. Clubs are closing. My own club has announced that it's suspended for the foreseeable future. Sporting fixtures have been stopped. Even sort of social pubs and clubs are closing, and this is just what I know in the UK, and I know it's widespread. If you go to France, Germany, Spain, it's even more widespread, and I believe in America as well, similarly. So it's important that we as a community come together, because it's a challenging time for a lot of people. Many gamers have underlying health issues of their own. We tend to be a slightly older cross-section of the population as well, and let's be honest, many of us are not the healthiest people in terms of exercise and stuff like that. So I guess a number of people are feeling very vulnerable, and that's really sad. So if you are unfortunately forced to self-isolate, or somebody in your family suffering, and you have to so if you do have to unfortunately self-isolate, it's going to be pretty tough. I mean, for those vulnerable people, they're talking about 12 weeks self-isolation here in the UK. That's a long time. And people are going to get lonely, they're going to get stir crazy, and they're going to really struggle mentally with that kind of enforced absence. Frankly, myself, as somebody who's reasonably fit and reasonably active and reasonably mentally alert, I'm going to find it really tough not to have any kind of gaming for prolonged periods of time. So I thought, what can I do to try and help this situation? And what I thought I'd do is, there's a really good community here of people out here supporting, helping, and I thought, let's each of us come up with 3 community groups that we can suggest that everybody joins as a way of chatting about the hobby we loved, having like-minded souls to discuss gaming with. So I'm going to take the first plunge, and I'm going to introduce you, if you didn't know already, the GM Alcove. This is run by I've forgotten his real name. Fritz is GM Fritz is his channel on YouTube. does fantastic painting tutorials, live painting, ridiculously long. He's a professional painter, and he in America, and he paints and paints and paints online, and it's well worth joining some of his live chats if you get a chance on YouTube. A number of people do these live 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 broadcasts, live streams. How dated am I? Live streams, and Fritz does them. He also has this GM Alcove group on Discord, and it's fantastic, right? Really good Discord groups, if you haven't used them before, are fantastic ways for people with similar interest groups to come together and chat, either voice communications or by typing. I would thoroughly recommend this group if you are looking for somebody just to sort of log in, just to have a chat with, just to sort of re-energize your gaming side of life. So another group that I'd recommend you checking out if you're looking for somebody to sort of see you through these tough times is the Chilling Wargames community group. They mainly do fantasy and science fiction stuff. The guys who run it are mad as a box of spanners, frankly. They do a live stream also on YouTube. They have a Discord channel. Thoroughly recommend you go and check them out and having a chat with them. It's hilarious stuff, right? And it just, you can't help but grin when you're hearing some of the stuff they get up to. Thoroughly recommended. Another one to check out if you haven't already done. So a third one you might want to check out if you're sort of looking for groups to sort of interact with and keep your wargaming fix front of mind. Again, people may well have tried these guys already, but on Tabletop Games run a very good website. I believe they're a shop retailer, but they also have a very entertaining video channel, YouTube channel, but also here is a number of forums, and I think they may also have a Discord server as well, which is a really good way of just keeping in touch, keeping chatting with people and keeping up to date. So yeah, those are my three. I'm sure you can all come up with 2 or 3 or even just one more example, so please do in the chat down below of other groups that you interact with, that other people might benefit from while they're trying to get their deal with the isolation away from the hobby that this coronavirus situation will have. But also, you know, don't be afraid to use the technology out there, right? We've all got access on our phones to live streaming, to Skype type setups, you know, or just old-fashioned telephoning and emailing somebody. You know, just don't be afraid to reach out if you're feeling low, you're feeling lonely, you're missing some, you know, company. You know, I'll put my email address in the just in the description down below as well. If anybody wants to make contact with me, please do. More than happy to talk. And you know, we can talk more traditionally via the phone if that makes it easier, but I'm not going to put the phone number up on here, obviously. So you know, it's going to be tough for the next few months, and it's really important that you recognize the problem, you deal with it, and you reach out for the support. This community is phenomenally good and very welcoming and friendly and supportive, so take advantage of it. The other thing to think about while you're in enforced isolation or absence from gaming or absence from conventions and shows, which we're all going to be in for the next few months, let's be honest. It's probably not going to be in before the summer before we get anything back to any semblance of normality, I fear. So it's time to sort of think through what's going to be your next project. So maybe you want to plan out what you're going to do next, what you're going to do with all that pile of figures that have been sitting in your wardrobe or in your loft for I don't know how long. Are you going to sort them out and sell them? Are you going to decide that it's going to become the new basis of your new saga army, or what it may be? So it's a great opportunity to plan your next projects. Maybe get out some of those figures and start painting them. You know, we all have our lead and resin mountains, so getting out and painting them. For me, I've got some terrain that I really need to do. I've been sitting here, I was inspired by Ken at Miniature Wargames Warrior Group. He was showing off the work he's doing around a Stalingrad board. I've got a whole load of MDF buildings, ruins that I have been meaning to do, and just before I got into isolation I bought a whole load of spray cans from Halfords, and I've been spray painting them and I will get around to doing them, because that's a project I've been looking to do for ages. And yeah, this period of enforced absence from the hobby has given me the opportunity to get on and do it, so that's what I'll be doing. The other thing to look into is solo gaming. Some game systems are very easy to play solo, but if you've got the space, and not all of us do, but if you have got the space, maybe setting up a game you can play solo, looking at some of the online solo rules there are out there, just to keep your hand in, keep the game going. And something I need to explore, and if anybody's had any experience of it, I'd love to hear your thoughts, but the sort of online software you can do to play games. I saw somebody running a virtual saga game using one of these online technologies, and that's something I really must explore. I'm not particularly technologically savvy, but I'd love to give it a go, because I think, again, 2 or 3 people meeting up online, playing a game, virtual game, it's better than, it's not as good as playing on the tabletop, clearly, but it just, again, gives you some outlet. And the other thing I'm going to say to you is remember to support the traders. Now, some of these guys are going to really struggle. Now, I know a lot of people are going to really struggle, and sadly, some people are going to lose their jobs, some people are going to lose their income, and I hope to goodness it is none of you guys listening to this, but if it is, be aware there's always help, but also think about the traders and the people who we spend our money with. It's going to be very tough for them. A number of them are going to be hurting, as they're missing out on the big conventions, the big show season that's going on. And how much money did we all used to spend at places like Adepticon and Salute and the other shows that aren't going to be happening this year now. So if you have some spare money, so yeah, if you do have a little bit of spare cash, or the money that you were planning to spend at Salute or one of the other shows, just be tempted to go and spend it with these traders online, because, as I say, they're going to be struggling. A lot of their income is going to dry up, as are all kinds of businesses. I'm not particularly pointing at them, but this is about wargaming, this channel. We are a wargaming community. We rely on these guys who are very, very small businesses, one-man bands, often run out of their garages, out of their sheds, their spare rooms, and what happens if they shut down? What does it mean to our hobby long term? So if you have some cash, have some money spare, you're looking at your project that you've enforced absence has made you think through, and you think, I could do with a couple more figures to support it. Try out one of the smaller retailers. They're less likely to survive this. And let's be honest, we are talking survival for a number of businesses here. This is catastrophic for a number of businesses, not just in the wargaming space, but worldwide. And if we can help them in some way, assuming that you're safe and you have the money to do it as well, then do it, because it's going to help. And there's a good justification for spending money in wargaming, like we ever needed that anyway. So ultimately, remember, you're not alone. Even if you're in isolation, you are not alone. This wargaming community is a fabulous one. The guys and girls who are involved in it are, almost without exception, I can't think of anybody who is not a fantastic person, and will do whatever they can to support you. So if you're low, you're struggling, reach out. Use all the Discord channels, the forums, the chats, the technology that's out there to keep contact, to talk, to discuss the hobby we love. It's just moving little toy soldiers around the table, or little counters around the table. But for many people, it's a massive escape from their everyday life, and it's a massive escape from the problems they have elsewhere. And when that's gone, removed from their lives for a while, it's going to be a big, big hole. So let's support everybody, let's help everybody, and do what you can. Stay safe, stay well, and this is Dom, signing out.